What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one, I want to break down what's going on with the overall market and talk about something very important that's going on right now. I'm also going to break down what data is going to be dropping in just about a couple of hours and some important things to know about the market as we open for today. So I'm going to break down SPY, Tesla, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of tickers during the pre-market. But before I do anything like this, let me just mention a couple of things. I'm firstly not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo with the link down below and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks plus a $50 cash reward. The offer ends in just 3 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, now let's talk about the market. How are things looking? As of right now, the technicals are looking a little bit more bullish for the market. It looks like the odds favor the market trying to break out, but we need to watch for this break of this resistance just to get that new confirmation of the breakout. So it's going to be very important to watch these levels, which I'm going to talk about in just a couple of minutes. But first, let's talk about the data. So just as a reminder, we have the Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index, which is some important manufacturing data that's coming out 1 hour after the market opens. So this could cause some volatility. Get ready for that at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. That's going to cause possibly some volatility. And that's basically it for today in terms of like data that's dropping. Tomorrow we have like the JOLTS job openings, but besides that, nothing else is that big. And then when it comes to 5 things to know about the market, right? We have some important data coming out for this week, especially towards the end of the week, as we have the PCE report coming out on Thursday, not to mention all the unemployment numbers for Friday. When it comes to earnings coming out, we have some interesting ones. We have NEO and Best Buy coming out for Tuesday. Not to mention, we have just a few others like Salesforce for Wednesday, and then Thursday we have like Dollar Tree and etc. So today specifically, we don't really have anything too big, but it's going to get a little bit bigger by Tuesday. But overall, nothing is like insanely massive like an Aapl earnings for the week. When it comes to other pieces of news, we're seeing right here that we have like Instacart coming out, filing for their stock market debuts alongside Klaviyo. And then right here, we can also see that Japan's owned SoftBank also filed for a NASDAQ listing. So there's some IPOs to be watching for. And finally, Evergrande is still making some headlines as it filed for, I believe it was Chapter 15 bankruptcy not too long ago. It actually dropped 87% when it came right back to the market. So pretty crazy stuff, not looking good for them whatsoever. And there's some talk about Bed Bath & Beyond. I mean, it's very sad to see them filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy as they're going to be closing a lot of their stores. Very, very sad to hear, but we saw some volatility. We're going to see if this lasts or not. But besides that, it is what it is. It's just making some headlines. So I just want to talk about the market now. How are things looking so far? Let me just mention that so far, looking at the technicals, SPY is looking like it's trying to push, but it's fighting this resistance right here. We're going to be watching 442. Now, I love to be open-minded, even though it is more probable looking at the current technicals we're going to try to break out. I want to be open-minded. It's very important to be open-minded because you never know what news could come out. So we have a possible head and shoulders on SPY, and we're currently at this resistance. Let me show you the resistance. I know it's a little hard to see, guys, but look at the candles right here, right? If I just close this and this, look at where the candle just so happens to be. We're at that resistance. You could see it right over there. And that's the resistance right here, which is where the left shoulder just happened to be, or for a very like symmetrical, almost symmetrical looking like head and shoulders. So very interesting to witness. If we reject off this, SPY could start dropping below 440 and start sinking a little bit lower. If we break above this, you're going to be watching for it to break this trend line. We have some resistance in this like 442.5 area. If it gets above this, we're going to be watching for these imbalances to fill. 444 is going to be tested. If not, this imbalance filled to like 445 if we end up breaking above this resistance. So could it go either way? Sure, but the odds do favor it breaking out. That seems more probable looking at Apple and looking at the dollar and etc. But just to be safe and open-minded, I just want to mention to everyone that you just want to watch these levels just to be as safe as possible. Now, let me also add that when it comes to the way SPY is moving, you could technically draw out a rising wedge on it, which means we might get some kind of like rejection. Maybe it pops a little bit and it comes right back down later on. That's another possibility. But just to be safe, for now, we're just going to talk about the breakout that is still very possible. We're going to be watching 442. If it breaks that, there's going to be some more potential for upside. If not, we could see some kind of big rejection. So it's very important to look at this in a very unbiased manner. And with that said, I want to switch over to the QQQ and talk about some other levels. So on the triple Q, it's the same thing as SPY almost exactly. Basically, we have this resistance right here for the head and shoulders like pattern. If the triple Q ends up rejecting, right? If the QQQ rejects off this level right here at this 366 to 367 area, it could sink right back down to 363 or lower, right? Because this head and shoulders could be valid. But if it keeps breaking out, we could see this thing push closer to like 370, in my opinion. That's going to be where these imbalances happen to be. Going to be watching these imbalances. What seems more probable is we're forming kind of like a cup and handle, and this thing is going to try to continue pushing. But just to be safe, we want to be open-minded and we want to just watch these levels very carefully. Now, there could also be a rising wedge that's forming on this, which makes me a little concerned. Could we get this rejection immediately and then come down? Could this be a small drop off this resistance because of this rising wedge? That's a possibility. Let's watch and see if we break in either direction just to be safe. This is going to be key for the QQQ. For Tesla, it's the same thing, except Tesla's trying to invalidate its head and shoulders. I think it just did so as this thing is continuing to push upwards. So it is looking like it wants to continue going. The question is there this like rising wedge that's still valid? I mean, it's still technically still valid, this rising wedge right here. It hasn't truly invalidated it, but there still are, excuse me, two more possibilities on Tesla. With the rising wedge forming, if Tesla gets a break to the downside, it could still reject. It could still reject, and this could be like a 3 drives up move. It has a bearish divergence technically, so there is an argument you can make for the rejection of this. If Tesla fails to break 244, it could come right back down to about the 240 level or even lower than that. It doesn't have to sink this hard. This is just like a hypothetical scenario. But if it continues to hold these levels and it breaks above the 244s, we could see Tesla push for 248 if that breaks 250s on the table. So it's looking like it wants to continue breaking out. That's the thing about the market. It's very strange right now. It looks like it's trying to break out, but the problem is we have a rising wedge, an ascending wedge that's forming on it. So it makes me think that maybe it's going to see a rejection, maybe a small little drop before it tries to like hold up. Uh, that seems kind of probable, but so far we haven't really seen the breakout. So it could continue chopping a little bit and try pushing higher and higher before we do get the break. So we want to just watch and see where this rising wedge takes Tesla. Just remember what I'm saying about the rising wedge, and then you could draw it out yourself and like watch for it in real time. That's what's a little bit concerning about it. Apple, however, is looking bullish, and this is looking like it's trying to push the market up because we have a cup and handle like formation, and it's about to test this same level we talked about yesterday, this key level around 180. So the question is, will Apple hit this 180 and then end up dropping? Will we get the rejection off of it, or is Apple going to keep breaking to the upside? Well, we have these imbalances here, which suggest that Apple might try to continue pushing. It does look more bullish from a technical standpoint. Let me just double check one thing on it. So on Apple, we also have this. I'm not seeing much of a divergence. I'm not really seeing anything that's looking too bad for it. This technical structure looks more bullish. So Apple's looking more bullish. It looks like it may try to push the markets higher. So the odds do favor Apple trying to get back to above 180 and pushing for like 181.5 or so. It looks more bullish to me. It has a cup and handle. So this tells me that the market may try pushing higher. That's what Apple is suggesting. For Nvda, and also like the dollar was suggesting the same thing, at least as of recent. I'm going to talk about the dollar in just a minute. But Nvda, not looking that great so far. You could see this thing has this bearish looking structure developed. But here's the thing. In the pre-market and also during the after hours yesterday, this thing is trying to bounce a little bit. You can see there's a small bounce on Nvidia. The question is, could Nvidia try to continue breaking upwards? But we first want to see this thing establish a higher low. That's going to give us a signal that this thing is trying to switch directions. So far, it hasn't truly done that. You could see like it was making this lower high right here, a lower high, then a lower low. Same thing again and again and again. Lower low was made here, made a lower high, but the question is, could it make a higher low and then try to bounce just like this? Could it try to do something like this where it just makes this low here and then just tries to bounce, or is it going to just continue sinking? So there isn't really a true confirmation of a change in market structure yet. And we're going to be watching. First off, we have support in the 450s. That's going to be key. Also like 462. We're just going to be watching these support levels for the time being. We're going to be watching to see if this thing could bounce, and we're going to be watching for a potential change in market structure. We have this imbalance around this 470 area, so my gut tells me it's going to test 470 at least. But first, we need to see it bounce. We need to see it truly hold and balance first. If it does so, I'm going to be watching for 470. If not, watch for a 450 retest. My gut tells me 470 is going to be tested. Anyways, when it comes to other charts, just to be brief, I just want to mention that Apple is looking like it may help the market push. The dollar, the dollar index is looking it was forming a bearish divergence the last time I checked. On the 4-hour time frame on the dollar, it's not looking that good. It looks like the dollar is going to start falling, right? The 4-hour looks a little bit more bearish. So if the dollar does start falling towards like 104 or lower, that could be bullish for the stock market. The VIX has this head and shoulders we were talking about. If this plays out and the VIX starts breaking below this 14.7 area. We're currently at like 15.7. If we come down to this support right here and we break below it, we can fill this gap, and that's going to be bullish for the markets. So the VIX is looking weaker. That the VIX, the dollar, and Apple are all suggesting the market may push a lot more. But my only concern with this, and this is the thing I was talking about, would be the head and shoulders that still exist on like SPY and the QQQ. We just want to watch to see if we could break out. The odds do favor us trying to break out, at least as of right now. Watch for some potential, ascending wedges as of right now. But like I said before, we're just going to be watching resistance. Tesla, don't forget we have the 200 EMA around this 244 level. So if we break it, we could try pushing closer to about 250. If not, we're just going to be watching to see if we reject or not. But so far, Tesla's looking quite good. With that said, I just want to thank you all for listening. Hopefully this video was very helpful. I'll see you guys in the next video later on. All right. So have a great day. Watch your resistance levels and just know we have mixed signals. We do have something suggesting the market's going to push more, but just to be safe, I want to watch for confirmations of the breakouts. All right. Thank you for listening. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you and peace out.